Everyone kept saying the same thing. You do not want to end up at her table. I did not get it at first. I thought, how dangerous could a teenager really be? But then I watched her play. She was not bluffing to survive. She was bluffing to dominate. Every move showed total confidence. Every hand created chaos. She was just 18 years old. She could not legally play poker in Las Vegas. But there she was. She stepped into one of the toughest poker tournaments on the planet. No fear, no experience, just pure aggression. By the end of the day, she walked out as a millionaire. I could not stop thinking about it. How does someone with zero live experience outplay the best players in the world and take the whole thing down? I started digging into her background, trying to understand what made her so different. It turned out Annette Obrestad was not just another young online player. She had already built a reputation in the virtual poker world for her wild and fearless style. People said she once won an entire online tournament without ever looking at her cards. She did it only by reading her opponents and trusting her instincts. But online success does not always translate to live tables. That was what everyone believed. The pressure, the cameras, the pros staring you down, it breaks most players. When she walked into the World Series of Poker Europe, nobody expected her to last a single day. I kept watching, sure she would eventually crack. Instead, she took the chip lead early and never looked back. Hand after hand, she pushed grown men off pots using nothing but raw aggression. And the craziest part? She was not even celebrating. It looked like she already knew exactly how it would end. From the moment the final two tables were set, it was clear Annette was not playing like a rookie. She took the chip lead early, stacking more than 900,000 chips, a huge pile in a high-stakes tournament. Most players thought her online skills would never work at live poker tables, but she crushed those doubts completely. Her style was aggressive to the extreme. She opened hands with weak cards just to apply pressure, forcing her opponents to fold and shrinking their stacks. It was risky, but it worked. Nobody knew whether she was bluffing or holding a strong hand. That unpredictability made her terrifying. One hand captured her fearless approach perfectly. She raised with a low-suited hand and showed no hesitation. Some pros tried to read her, calling or checking carefully, but she kept firing bets. Her relentless aggression forced tough decisions. Many players folded under pressure, but aggression has its price. Early on, she lost a big pot when her opponent called her bluff and caught a lucky card. Instead of panicking, she reset her mindset and stayed focused. That ability to remain calm under fire became one of her greatest weapons on the road to victory. After that early setback, Annette did not just survive, she came back even stronger. Her biggest test was a showdown against Kenny Tran, a seasoned pro with a huge reputation. Annette had a pocket pair of sevens. Kenny held ace and king. Most players would fold or play carefully here, but she went all in without any hesitation. The tension was almost unbearable. When the cards turned over, Annette hit a 7 on the turn. It was what poker players call a two-outer, meaning there were only 2 cards in the entire deck that could help her. That card instantly changed everything. Kenny Tran was eliminated, and suddenly this teenage underdog was second in chips with only 14 players left. But poker is a game of swings. Not long after, she faced one of her toughest moments against Johannes Korsar. Annette raised aggressively with a pocket pair of 3s. Korsar was not backing down. He shoved all in with pocket queens. She needed a miracle, like running 3s, but this time, luck did not help her. Instead of folding under pressure, Annette pushed back again. She went all in with ace and 10. She put her chips and her fate on the line. It was a risky move, but it worked. She doubled her stack and stayed alive in the tournament. Every hand was a mental battle. Losing big pots can break even the strongest players, but Annette kept her cool. Her focus was sharper than ever. This grit and fearless mindset were exactly why she was still standing while the pros fell one by one. As the tournament reached the final table, Annette's aggressive style became more than just a strategy. It turned into a psychological weapon. The veteran players around her were used to calculating odds and reading tells, but they started to feel the pressure. At just 19 years old, Annette did not only play the cards, she played the minds. She mixed unpredictable bluffs with solid raises, keeping her opponents guessing every hand. One moment she would push a weak hand hard, the next moment she would fold or back off. That made her impossible to figure out. This created a constant feeling of tension at the table. Players began to second-guess themselves, wondering if she was bluffing or actually holding something big. Annette's relentless pressure forced mistakes from some of the best poker minds in the game. When poker legend Gus Hansen was eliminated, the message was clear. This teenager was not just lucky. She was a force to be reckoned with. Fear and respect spread through the room. Professionals started whispering about the girl who could not be beaten. Annette's psychological warfare was not just a tactic, it was the key to her survival. In poker, playing the cards is one thing, playing the players is how you win. With the final table in sight, the pressure reached a whole new level. Annette knew she could not rely only on aggression. She needed smart plays and a little luck to survive. Every decision mattered. Every chip counted. One turning point came when she faced an all-in against pocket sevens. While many players might have folded, Annette called with pocket fives. It paid off. She dodged the sevens and doubled her stack, keeping her momentum alive. She kept applying pressure, forcing her opponents into tight spots with fearless raises. Players began hesitating, unsure whether to fight back or fold. Each successful bluff and every well-timed bet chipped away at their confidence. Her resilience shined brightest when she eliminated another big name, Matthew McCullough, sending him to a third-place finish. With only 3 players left, Annette was the underdog again. She held the smallest stack, but stayed ready to fight for the title. She was not backing down, not now, not ever. The final moments of the tournament felt like a high-stakes mental war. Annette faced John Tabata, a seasoned pro on a hot streak. Every hand mattered. The pressure was intense, and the crowd was electric. Annette's fearless style never disappeared. She raised with hands like ace and nine, mixing strong plays with bold bluffs to keep her opponent off balance. One of the most iconic hands happened when she held a pocket pair of sevens and hit a top set on the flop. John had 2 pairs. With chips piling into the pot, she pushed John into a corner. His difficult choice to call her all in sealed his fate. Annette had forced a major player out of the tournament, moving closer to the title. During the final stage, her nerves and focus never faltered. She used every skill she had. She read the board, predicted her opponent's moves, and controlled the pace of the game. Her aggressive but calculated style became the perfect mix of risk and reward. When the final card hit the table, everyone knew a new champion had been crowned. A teenager had fought hard, stayed cool, and played poker on her own terms. Annette Obrestad made history. At 19 years old, she became the youngest person ever to win a World Series of Poker bracelet. It was a milestone in a sport dominated by men. She proved that courage, focus, and smart play could break every rule. When she secured the victory, the crowd exploded in applause. Friends, family, and fans celebrated an incredible moment. A teenager had turned the poker world upside down. Her story still inspires players everywhere to push their limits and dream big. Annette's triumph was not just a poker win. It was proof that courage and determination can break any barrier, no matter your age. Her story reminds us it is never about how you start. It is about how you keep fighting,